Ever get that feeling, like when you're scanning the news and you're thinking, am I just scratching the surface here? Headlines zipping by, but the real story, the juicy bits, are kind of hidden.
Exactly. You see the headline, but what's the context?
Right. Well, today, we're going all in, a deep dive into a whole stack of recent headlines straight out of India. Think of it as like your cheat sheet to really understanding what's going on over there.
We've got a real mix of stories. We'll be looking at the economic and tech scenes, what's happening in sports, even some of the social and cultural stuff making waves. We're going to get you past those quick blurbs, give you the full picture.
Yeah, more depth, more nuance. We're not just going to repeat what you've already seen. We're digging for those little details that make you go, interesting. We're going to spot those underlying trends,
Mhm.
figure out why these stories matter, even if India seems a world away. So, ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, the first one that caught my eye, it's about India and critical minerals. They're making some big moves.
Yeah, this is a strategic play for sure. They just launched their very first auction for exploration licenses. We're talking 13 blocks. And not just any minerals, oh no. Rare earth elements, zinc, diamonds, copper, even platinum group minerals. The essentials, really.
The building blocks of, well, everything.
And get this, the launch happened in Goa with the chief minister right there. That's a statement.
Definitely not messing around. They're serious about this. So the goal is to unlock India's own reserves of these critical minerals, the stuff that's buried deep. I mean, it feels like they're trying to get ahead of the game here.
Wouldn't you?
And there was this roadshow, too, for even more mineral blocks. Plus, an AI hackathon.
AI and mining.
Yep. Focus on how to use artificial intelligence for mineral targeting. Blending the old school with the cutting edge. I mean, it's pretty impressive. But why
Right.
now, though? What's the rush?
Well, think about the global picture for a second. China. They've been quietly building up their reserves of these exact same minerals for years, pouring money into emerging economies. We're talking almost $57 billion in loans just between 2000 and 2021.
Billions with a B.
And here's the kicker. Over 80% of that lending went to companies that are at least partly owned by China. So it's not just about helping out, it's about control, securing those resources for their own industry.
Locking it down.
Exactly. They're aiming for a tight grip on the minerals that make everything tick. Your phone battery, electric car parts, renewable energy tech, even defense stuff.
It's all connected.
So India making this move now, it makes you think. Who's going to control those essential resources in the future? This could be India's ticket to the big leagues in the green economy, maybe challenge China's dominance, shake up those global supply chains.
A real power play. Makes you think, doesn't it? Speaking of power plays, let's jump over to the cricket world for a minute. The Harry Brook IPL ban.
Ah, yeah, this one was a curveball.
I was surprised, too. Harry Brook, England batter, picked up by Delhi Capitals for a good chunk of change, 6 crore rupees. And now, he's out. Banned from the IPL for 2 years. A bit harsh, don't you think?
It's a strong message for sure. He said he needed to, quote, recharge and focus on England cricket. And look, player welfare is a big deal, but the IPL teams, they're not messing around with these last-minute withdrawals anymore. This 2-year ban, it's a new rule, came in right before the mega auction, a clear sign that commitment's expected.
A line in the sand.
Exactly. This could change the whole game for player contracts. We might see stricter agreements, less wiggle room for personal breaks. It's all about balance, isn't it? The players' needs versus the team's.
It is. I mean, the rule does make an exception for injuries or medical stuff confirmed by their home board. That seems fair. But just needing a break, not good enough anymore, apparently. And remember, Brooks not a total newbie to the IPL. He played for Sunrisers Hyderabad in 23. Didn't set the world on fire, though, and he pulled out once before, family reasons.
So maybe there's some history there.
Maybe. And now, Delhi Capitals, they're scrambling to find someone to fill his shoes. First game's coming up fast. Plus, they might need a new captain, too. It really shows you the pressure cooker these big leagues are, the potential for things to go sideways. It's a tough question. How do these leagues juggle the crazy demands on athletes with the teams needing to win and make money?
$1 million question. Literally, it's a tightrope walk. This whole situation, it shows the tension that's always there between players and franchises. And let's face it, the global sports calendar, it's relentless. Okay, let's switch gears completely. From cricket to the digital world. JP Morgan Chase and their AI game.
This is where it gets really interesting. JP Morgan Chase, they're saying they've boosted efficiency big time, like 10 to 20%, all thanks to this in-house coding assistant they cooked up. Probably some fancy AI trained on their code. I mean, For a giant financial institution to make gains like that, it's got to be a big deal, right?
Huge. And what's really cool is what they're doing with that extra efficiency. They're freeing up their engineers to work on other projects, the strategic stuff. Their global CIO, he was talking about this specifically, especially with their big tech hub in India.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. Huge operation over there.
Massive, $17 billion, their tech budget, and a third of their 63,000 tech folks based in India. So imagine the possibilities. Those efficiency gains, they could turbocharge their AI and data work. They're talking about hundreds, maybe even 1,000 different AI applications in the works.
That's a lot of AI.
But it's not just about how many AI tools they're using, it's the value they're creating. Jamie Dimon, the CEO, he reckons this could be worth, get this, $1 to $1.5 billion.
That's not chump change.
Nope. It's a real impact on their bottom line. This whole automation thing, it makes you wonder, what does it mean for the future of software engineers? Less routine coding, more big picture thinking maybe. Even the way we train them could change.
Universities scrambling to catch up.
For sure. It seems like they're moving away from just hiring more and more tech people. Now it's about giving their existing teams these AI superpowers. So the big question is, how is AI already changing big industries like finance? And what's next? What happens to jobs, to innovation?
Big questions. Okay, let's take a break from the serious stuff. Let's talk about something a little lighter. Kim Kardashian at an Indian wedding.
Ah, yes, that was quite the spectacle.
Definitely made headlines. Kim Kardashian just shows up at this super lavish pre-wedding bash for Anant Ambani and Radhika Merchant in Mumbai. What's weird is she apparently doesn't even know the family.
The connection seems to be through her jeweler friend, Lorraine Schwartz. She works with the Ambanis, probably got Kim the invite. It shows you how these global elite circles, they all connect.
A small world.
Tiny. And this wasn't just any party, it was epic. Fancy invitations, a venue that looked like a city of Varanasi, a guest list full of A-listers, John Cena, Ivanka Trump, Bill Gates, you name it.
And the entertainment.
Yeah.
Rihanna, Katy Perry, Justin Bieber.
Talk about a lineup. It was like a private concert series.
Kim herself called it the craziest experience. All those decorations, diamond details everywhere. Apparently, Isha Ambani, the bride's sister, is a fan of keeping up with the Kardashians. So that's a fun little twist.
Oh, no.
Right. Oh, and the price tag for all this, get ready, an estimated $600 million.
$600 million for pre-wedding festivities.
It boggles the mind. I mean, it really makes you think about wealth, how different cultures mix, how these high-profile events are becoming more and more global. What's the message here, do you think?
It's a peek into a world most of us will never see. Okay, let's shift gears again to something a bit more serious, a bit more sensitive, this controversy around holy celebrations and Muslim prayers.
Yeah, this one's been unfolding, a bit worrying. Reports of BJP leaders urging Muslims to stay inside during Holi, even suggesting these tarpaulin burqas. Seems like it started with a police officer in Uttar Pradesh, Sambal district. He advised Muslims to do their Friday prayers inside because of Holi.
And it wasn't just him. Similar stuff's been said by BJP leaders in other states, too. It's interesting, Holi overlaps with Ramzan and Friday prayers this year. Could that be adding fuel to the fire?
It's tricky. India has this history of different religions coexisting, but it shows that keeping the peace isn't always easy, especially with those political and social currents swirling around.
And of course, elections are coming up in some places.
Right. This kind of talk, it can be divisive, unfortunately. It raises some tough questions, you know. How do cultural and religious events mix with the political landscape in a diverse country? How can everyone feel respected and included?
No easy answers there. It's a complex issue, goes way back. These headlines, they show how important dialogue is, how we need to understand each other better.
Okay, how about a more uplifting story now? Elon Musk shining a spotlight on an Indian athlete.
This was awesome to see, Elon Musk sharing this video of Vispi Karate, an Indian athlete. He smashed the Guinness World Record for the Hercules Pillars hold.
Where do I even begin? In Surat, India, holding these huge 160-kilogram pillars for over 2 minutes. Unbelievable strength, incredible endurance.
The Hercules Pillars hold itself as a beast of a challenge.
Yeah.
Your grip strength, your whole body, gotta be in sync to keep those pillars from toppling over.
Yeah, you'd need superhuman grip strength. And Vispi Karate, he's not just strong, he's got multiple black belts in martial arts, holds 13 Guinness World Records. I mean, this guy crushes cans with his bare hands, bends iron bars with his head. It's insane.
He also trains commandos for the Border Security Force.
A real-life superhero.
And now, thanks to Elon Musk, the whole world knows his name. It makes you wonder what drives someone to achieve these incredible feats. The dedication, the discipline.
It's inspiring. Shows what humans are capable of. Okay, let's talk politics again. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, he's been singing PM Modi's praises when it comes to development.
Yes, very vocal about it.
He's saying that under Modi, the last 10 years have seen more development in India than the previous 70 since independence. That's a bold claim. He rattled off some stats, too. India now has the second largest road network in the world, big growth in metro and rail systems. They're rolling out these Vande Bharat express trains all over.
He focused on the tangible stuff, the infrastructure.
Makes sense.
He talked about new projects in Ahmedabad, railway overbridges, road upgrades. He said they'll make commutes easier, improve connectivity. He even mentioned new hospitals being built.
Healthcare, too.
Important stuff.
Then he highlighted Gujarat. They've got the world's largest green energy park in Kutch, building Asia's largest green city in Dholera. He even said the national highway network's grown by 60%. Of course, this is all coming from a government official, but it tells you what they're focusing on, how they're measuring success. It begs the question, though, how do we really measure progress, development on a national scale? What matters most?
It's a complex equation. You have to look at all the factors, the economic, social, environmental. It's about more than just numbers. Okay, back to cricket, but some not so good news this time. England's test team took a hit.
Yeah, Mark Wood, their star fast bowler out of the upcoming India series, knee injury, needs surgery. That's a blow for England's bowling attack.
A big one. Seems like it's been bothering him for a while. Got worse during the Champions Trophy. Ligament damage, they're saying. 4 months on the sidelines. So he'll miss this crucial series against India. And Wood, he's key for England. His speed, his aggression, it disrupts the batsman.
He's a game changer.
Exactly. Finding a replacement who can bowl like that with his experience, it's not going to be easy. Really shows you how injuries can throw a wrench in the works, you know? For teams, for players, that recovery process, it's tough, both physically and mentally.
It's a long road back.
It is. Okay, let's zoom in on another sector where tech is making a difference. Healthcare. Apollo Hospitals, they're going all in on AI.
This is cool. They're planning to invest even more in AI tools. The goal, to give their doctors and nurses a break. Automate those routine tasks that eat up their time.
Free up their brains for the important stuff.
Exactly. They're aiming to save each staff member 2 to 3 hours every day.
Imagine that.
I know, right? And they're not vague about it either. They've got specific plans. Using AI to analyze medical records, help with diagnoses, recommend tests and treatments, even stuff like transcriptions, discharge summaries, daily schedules, all that admin stuff, gone.
AI taking care of the busy work.
Exactly. They admit there are challenges, of course. The cost of all this, getting enough data, making sure their electronic medical records are up to scratch, and they need to make sure it's profitable too. But they're committed. They're setting aside a big chunk of their digital budget for AI. Plus, they're planning to expand, add more beds.
Growing and innovating.
And it's not just Apollo. Other big hospitals in India, like Fortis Healthcare, Tata Memorial Hospital, they're jumping on the AI bandwagon too. It really makes you think, how is AI going to change healthcare in the future? For patients, for doctors, for everyone. What about the ethical side of things? That's a whole other conversation.
It's a game changer, but we need to be careful, thoughtful about how we use it. Okay, one last headline for today. This one's about legal stuff, high finance. The U.S. SEC summons for Gautam Adani.
This is a big one. International implications. The Indian government's been asked by a local court to serve Gautam Adani with a summons from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. It's about allegations of securities fraud and a massive bribery scheme.
Just to break it down, this is all happening under the Hague Service Convention, an international treaty that helps with serving legal documents between countries. So this summons, it means Adani, or his lawyers, have to show up in a U.S. court to address these accusations. But it's important to note this doesn't automatically mean he's getting extradited, not without a U.S. arrest warrant at least.
Okay, so it's not a done deal.
Not at all.
The Adani Group, they've denied everything, of course. They're saying they'll fight it in court. India's law ministry is involved now, a court in Ahmedabad, too. It's a whole international legal tangle. And apparently, PM Modi didn't talk about this with former President Trump when they met.
Interesting.
Right. It shows how messy these financial cases can get, how they can cross borders.
Globalization in action. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's end on a brighter note, something more colorful. Holy celebrations across India.
Ah, Holi, the festival of colors.
Yeah.
Millions of people out there celebrating. It's all about good conquering evil, winter ending, spring arriving.
It's such a vibrant tradition.
It is. The bonfires, the
Yeah.
colored powder, the water fights, the sweets.
And it's rooted in Hindu mythology, the stories of Radha and Krishna. Celebrations in places like Mathura and Vrindavan, they're especially important.
And it's not just a religious thing. It's cultural. Brings people together. Families traveling to be together. Everyone covered in color. Even politicians get in on the action. I saw these pictures of widows in Vrindavan celebrating. They're often excluded from stuff, so it was really heartwarming to see. It really is a festival that brings joy to everyone, young and old, no matter who you are.
A sense of unity, of shared happiness. It makes you realize how powerful these traditions are, you know?
Yeah.
They reflect those core values, strengthen those community bonds.
Yeah, it's something special. Okay, let's talk press freedom for a minute. A U.S. journalist suing the Indian government.
This one's a bit concerning.
It is. This U.S. journalist, Rafael Sadder, he's taking the Indian government to court. They canceled his Overseas Citizen of India status, his OCI. Basically, it's a long-term visa for people with Indian roots and their spouses. He can't visit his family in India anymore. And why? Because he wrote an article criticizing an Indian businessman.
Wow.
The government's saying he damaged India's reputation, that he was doing journalism without permission. He denies all that, of course. And get this, it all happened right around the same time he was hit with a defamation lawsuit for his investigation into this cybersecurity company.
Talk about timing.
Right. His reporting was about this hack-for-hire stuff, pretty serious allegations. But the government hasn't said anything specific about a national security threat. So why cancel his OCI? Makes you wonder. And this isn't even the first time they've revoked OCIs for people who criticize the government.
Retaliation.
Maybe. Sadder's lawyer, he's saying defamation shouldn't be a reason to cancel someone's OCI. And apparently, Sadder got threats while he was doing his investigation. The government has until May 22nd to respond. Sadder's hoping to get his status back. This whole thing, it raises a lot of questions about press freedom,
Yeah.
What can journalists report on without getting in trouble? How do governments balance national security with letting journalists do their job?
It's a delicate balance for sure. Okay, last one, and it's a tense one. Pakistan accusing India of sponsoring terrorism.
This is serious stuff. It came after a deadly attack on a train in Balochistan. Pakistan hasn't directly blamed India for this particular attack, but they're saying the terrorists were talking to planners in Afghanistan. They're urging Afghanistan to do something about it.
So they're saying there's a connection, but not directly blaming India.
Right. But Pakistan's Foreign Office, they're sticking to their guns, saying India is trying to destabilize its neighbors. They also talked about Pakistan's anti-terrorism efforts, accused the Indian media of glorifying this separatist group, the BLA. It's a tricky situation, could really make things worse between the two countries.
It's already a tense relationship.
Understatement. Makes you think, what happens when countries accuse each other of sponsoring terrorism? What does that do to diplomacy, to the whole region?
It can spiral quickly, trust erodes, negotiations become almost impossible. Okay, let's end with something a little sweeter. A baby gorilla on the move.
Ah, this one's cute. Maisie, the first baby gorilla born at Blackpool Zoo in the UK, she's been moved to Mysuru Zoo in India, all part of this global effort to protect Western lowland gorillas. They're critically endangered,
Yeah, not doing so well.
Maisie was born in 2010, has a sibling, Moanda, born in 2012. They were picked to join this new group at Mysuru Zoo, along with a silverback from Frankfurt Zoo. The European Endangered Species Program, they recommended it to boost genetic diversity.
Smart thinking.
Mysuru Zoo, they've got a great setup for gorillas,
So a win-win for everyone.
except maybe the folks at Blackpool Zoo. Must be hard to say goodbye. Maisie even traveled with one of her longtime caretakers to help her settle in. It's a nice touch. Makes you appreciate what zoos do for conservation, It's a tough job protecting these endangered animals.
They're on the front lines for sure. Okay, one last bit of economic news. India's foreign exchange reserves, they're doing pretty well.
Good news for the economy. Their reserves, they just had their biggest weekly jump since August 2021. Thanks to the Reserve Bank of India, they've been doing these currency swap
A
operations.
strategic move.
Big time. We're talking a $15.3 billion increase. Their total reserves are now almost $654 billion for the week ending March 7th.
Those currency swaps, they're clever. Basically, it's like exchanging currencies at a set rate on a specific date. It lets the RBI get more dollars without messing with the open market.
Sneaky.
Well, strategic. This boost to their dollar reserves, it's good news for India. Makes them more stable financially, better able to handle whatever the global economy throws at them.
A safety net.
Exactly. It makes you think, why are these foreign exchange reserves so important for a country? What do they really do?
They're like a rainy day fund, help cushion the blow if things get rough. Plus, they help manage the value of their currency. So when reserves go up like this, it's usually a good sign. Okay, last headline, and it's about some potential shakeups in the telecom world. Airtel, Jio, and Starlink, they might be teaming up.
Yeah, and not everyone's happy about it. Opposition parties, Congress, and the CPM, they're raising red flags. National security concerns, they say. Congress is even hinting at political motivations, tying it back to PM Modi, Trump, and Elon Musk.
Conspiracy theories.
Maybe. Their main worry is who's going to be in control of all that communication infrastructure if there's a security crisis. And will other satellite internet providers get a fair shot? The CPM, they're all about open and transparent spectrum auctions, especially for sensitive stuff like defense and ISRO. They even brought up Ukraine, how things could go wrong if you're not careful.
Makes sense.
These concerns came up after Airtel and Jio announced their partnerships with Starlink. They managed to get past those regulatory hurdles. The opposition, they're saying this could create a monopoly in the satellite spectrum, stifle competition, hurt consumers.
So it's not just about national security, it's about fairness, too.
Exactly. It's a tangled web, this one. Technology moving fast, national security at stake, the whole telecom market in flux. So from those critical minerals to the cricket field, from social tensions to the latest in tech and AI, these headlines from India, they show us a world that's constantly changing, interconnected in ways we don't always see.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But hopefully this deep dive, it's given you more than just the headlines. Maybe spark some new ideas, new ways of looking at things.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, one last thought for you to ponder. We talked about AI, how it's shaking things up. But what about beyond coding? What other everyday tasks in all kinds of industries could AI revolutionize? And if that happens, what will it mean for society? How will we adapt? Or think about those discussions we had about culture, religion, finding common ground. In a world that's more and more connected, what are some creative ways to build bridges to make sure everyone feels respected and included?
These headlines, they're just the beginning. Keep exploring, keep asking questions.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll catch you next time.